Hey, we on? We're on? Hi, everybody. Let's leave a little plastic here. Happy Halloween. Zazoo Plazz. Zazoo Plazz report. Look at this. This is my show and tell for today. I'm doing the fortune teller thing. 3 in the morning on Sunday. Well, it's Monday morning, October 28th. Look at this thing. How cool is this, right? My kid gave me this, my oldest son. And I've got one that has Saturn's rings because he knows I'm all into the woo-woo stuff. I'll just put this over here. I have it on my desk. I have a little stand, and I keep it there. Anyway, I got my new shirt on today. I got mandalas. I was reading about Carl Jung and how he was into, all the Far Eastern philosophies and psychologies. And he was into mandalas. So I saw this at the thrift store. It's so cool. It's got all like fall color. It's got all my colors, So this is kind of like my costume for today. I'm doing the crunchy hippie thing. Get all my little Halloween stuff over here. I don't know if you can see. I got my Halloween decoration. I took a paper plate and I clipped it up there with my plastic bug that my youngest son gave me. That was in another reel that I did. And I put up something on the wall too. See, it says, "Make your own path." I've only been in my apartment for 8 months and I finally put something up on the wall. But I was waiting for inspiration, and I had that in the house, It was in my office on top of my bookcase in the dining room where my office was, And I had it in the closet. I said, "Oh my God, that would look great." It blends with I got the brown bench and the gold, with the moon things. It just goes. It's got like a very Miami feel. I don't know. I like turquoise and peach and I don't know, coral. I guess you'd call it coral and orange. These are my colors. That's it. So spiritual colors, I guess. I'm kind of quirky, but it works for me. So how's everybody? All right, so this is great. 30th Sunday today. I guess I'll, how am I going to start out? He's probably sleeping. I don't care. He knows me by now. Well, let's see. Next week is Halloween, and then my birthday is Saturday. I'm going to be 59. It's just another year. It's another number. I don't assign any meaning to it other than it's going to be like the best year ever because I've been preparing. Oh, and there's a big noise at my door when I said that. It's going to be an awesome year. See, because every new year is a new vibration, right? It's got new numbers. And what you have to do is I'm going to run my solar return chart. If you're into astrology, you know that there's, it's like your astrological chart for the next year. And you look and you see, which are the themes, which are the transits that are, hitting your chart. And then you can act accordingly. You can be prepared. You and your stars. That doesn't mean anything. You have free will. Yeah, but okay. So I had these. So this is kind of the theme today. That my default is just joy. It's just I want to do this. I want to do that. And then there are people who come in and they go, they call themselves healers and, they act like they're better than you, but those people, you got to block them out, right? Because I have attracted so many of those people and it's taken me till now to realize, you know what? I don't, I didn't ask for their opinion, and I'm not going to pay any attention to it. I'm going to do what makes my heart sing. And that's what you get from being 59 versus being 29 or 19 or 39 or 49. You get a certain wisdom born from, you know, having dealt with all these issues before. See? So that's the theme for today. Um, to not let anybody or anything get in the way of you pursuing your unique path that God has called you to. Source, universe calls every one of us. We have a soundtrack playing in our heads, and you got to block out all that other stuff, and go deep. It's Scorpio season. I'm going deep. During Scorpio season, I'm very dissatisfied with um, small talk, I guess, in particular. Usually I am, in general, but in particular during my birthday season. I don't want to waste my time on, you know, surface stuff. I want to dive deep. Look at the scorpion. It's got claws, right? It wants to latch onto things, right? It's not really going to hurt you. It might sting a little only if you mess with it. But if left to my own devices, I'm good. I can survive in the desert on very little water. And that it just really fits right in with today's readings. Um, so speaking of no water, this is how we roll here at the Zazoo Plazz Report. I talk for half an hour, but it feels like 2 minutes. I fill you in. I let you in on some things that are, some themes. Let you in on the juicy news of my life in exciting, in the exciting state of the land of steady habits that is Connecticut. It doesn't matter. Excitement is where you find it. It's what you make of. You can find the smallest things in life and get the greatest joy. I know this. Um, yeah, so I fill you in on the juicy details of my week, my current thinking. Take it or leave it. Mm. You might find some kernels of wisdom, candy corn kernels of wisdom in my little. Sometimes they're rants, sometimes they're retorts. Usually it's just stuff that occurs to me that might be interesting, maybe useful to you somehow. And then I talk about the scripture readings that I pull from because I'm Catholic. Well, I was Catholic. I was raised Catholic. You know, you're a priest forever according to the order of Melchizedek. So I guess you're a Catholic forever. um, you know, it, it's. I don't label myself. See, I see value in a lot of different religious teachings and a lot of different masters. Whether it's Buddha, whether it's Jesus, it's the spirit, right? It doesn't. You can't, pin it down to a particular religion. I read everything. I take it in, and I make like my own little quilt out of it. My own little crazy quilt. That's how I roll. Anyway, um, yeah. So I welcome you to listen, not listen, skip ahead, whatever. It'll be entertaining. I can guarantee that. And sometimes I don't know what comes up. Stuff comes up. I'm like, where did that come from? Why am I talking about this? But it helps me, and maybe it'll help you. I do this because it feeds my soul, and it's I've got a lot of stuff to share, and I've got to get it out because it'll consume me if I don't. I'm a lot healthier for doing this. Anyway, so this week, I don't know if you've heard in the news, wherever you are in the world, but I live in Connecticut, and we haven't had a lot of rain lately, and we've had an emergency situation, not close to where I live, sort of, um, be half an hour away from me in the town of Berlin, which is kind of central Connecticut. And there's a mountain there. It's called Lamentation Mountain. I guess there were some hikers and they had a campfire and they tried to, they thought they put it all out, but there was a spark and acres have burned. So my kid, the firefighter, took time out from his classes and got called up to work the hand crew, which is, ground. Usually the rookies get assigned to hand crew. He's 21. But he's learning. He can't be a hot shot right away. He's got to pay his dues. So he got called up, and they went out there. And, he's dealing with the perimeters, and they're hauling around the equipment, and they don't. They got helicopters dropping water, on the fire. And it's ironic because my older son works for the company, Sikorsky, that makes the hot helicopters that are dumping the water on the fire. And my kid is out there fighting the fire. His little brother is out there. So, our little family is we're doing our part. Yeah, we're all in Connecticut here. So that's good. So I'm, unfortunately, one firefighter was lost. Something about an ATV accident or something. It tipped over, and it was. So that was sad that they lowered the flags in Connecticut to half mast. Thinking about Halloween. So that was too bad that happened. That was sad. But we've asked for and received help from the government, from FEMA. So we're getting there, and we got it, and things will get resolved. But it's just one of those things. You have to be careful. They're telling people, there's a ban on like campfires and all that, because when it's dry, you have to do that. You have to be careful. So let's see. Oh, I went out. I got it done. I got up, got it done this week. I went and early voted. That's all I'm going to say. And, got the flu shot, the whole getting ready. And I went out. I went to get, oh, this is funny. So they're having trick or treating here at my complex. So I went to get the little thing that you put up on your doors, a little sign that says, I'm in for trick or treating. And of course I'm going to be, right? I was the first one to get my little tag. And so I went out to buy Halloween candy, and it's like I said, what the heck? He says, there's like $25 for a bag, and there's like all these like little teeny weeny little tiny candy bars. I'm like, what the heck? It's like, I want to get something that if I get I don't get any kids, I won't mind eating. So I went to the grocery store and I got myself a bag of the regular size Three Musketeers, which is my favorite. And then I ran into like two people from my high school class and ended up talking for a while. So shout out to them if they're, it's one girl, she didn't really see me, but I ran into another guy I had seen at the reunion last year and, caught up a little, because this is not a reunion year for me. So, you just never know. There's that synchronicity principle. You never know who you're going to run into and why. But the important thing about that is I had forgotten, because he used to sit in front of me in like Spanish class and a bunch of other classes. Smart guy. Lives near me. He's, married now and close by. Gen X, we're talking about jobs and, just things that we have a similar mindset about some things. And then it occurred to both of us. I said, oh yeah, something about celebrating my birthday. He's like, when did you say it was? I said, November 2nd. He's like, that's my birthday. So I found a person, and I had forgotten. I remembered from high school, when he said that, I remembered that I thought, like I had written down in my diary, oh, it's, so and so's birthday is the same day as mine. They probably announced it over the intercom or whatever. But that's kind of interesting. And yet, even people born on the same exact day, he was born on the exact same day, the exact same year, but he was probably born, of course, he was born at a different time, which, affects your ascendant, which affects, the houses in your chart and all that. So, it's interesting. But we'd be very much alike. A lot of our chart is the same. But, you know, it's interesting how that works. But the more about yourself, the more you can have compassion for other people. You can view them as, potentially teaching you something. Everybody you meet's got a lesson. And there's always a reason why you run into people. You think it's random, and then you look back and you go, oh, that's why. Because you can't tell. So you have to, take the opportunity and go deeper, and ask questions. And, and of course, I get home and I'm like, why did I, the guy's probably like, he probably thought I was, God, she's just too much. He probably needed to take a nap. I don't know how I'm going to, respond to somebody. People's, I put my energy out there, and then later I go, oh my God, what did I started telling him all this stuff, but sometimes I just don't know what's going to come out of my mouth, till it comes out, and then I'm like, oh, that's. But lately I've started being a little nicer to myself, saying, it's okay, because sometimes I say things that other people, that I'm guided to say based on something they said or whatever, you know. And I go home and I go, oh my God, I was so awkward and cringy. And I always say, I'm going to be quiet. I'm just going to be cool. And I never can. I can't be. So you know, there's that. But anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah. Okay, so the readings. Shout for joy. Yay. Jeremiah. Let's see. God will bring back his people from the ends of the world. Immense throng. They departed in tears, and they will be guided and consoled. And they talk about water. Oh yeah. They won't stumble. They'll have a level road. Yeah. So they're in the desert with no water. So they'll be given water. Okay. So I think they said these are something about Ephraim, which means fruitful in Hebrew. That's one of the tribes, I guess, of Israel. Um, Something about the people of Ephraim, who was the second son of Joseph, who was the grandson of Jacob. So Ephraim, yeah, interesting. So that means fruitful in Hebrew. So, okay, so this is what I think it means. It's they departed in tears, will be guided and they'll return in joy. So basically, that I think that means. I think that means like, yeah, and even it says this in the psalm, the Lord has done great things for us. We're filled with joy. You know, they're crying, departing, crying with the seed to be sown, and then come back rejoicing in abundance. In other words, that's dealing with your karma. So one lifetime you might be giving, you might be sacrificing, you might be really working hard, right? And then so the next you can come back and receive, get the rewards from that, right? Um, or within one lifetime, I think. So in other words, but you have to, do the sacrifice, find out what it is, find out what it is that you need to do, what, or what you need to release in order to, get that abundance and those rewards. So that's what I'm thinking about that. And then Hebrews, let's see. Yeah, they're talking about high priests. In other words, the masters, the order of Melchizedek. If you are at a high spiritual level, right? You've come to serve as a volunteer or whatever. But even Jesus, right? He was, God picked him to come down and to be human, so that he understood. He understood people's sufferings and weaknesses because but he was able to keep his. He wasn't. Even some of the masters, they had to, the high priests, people who were, called to come and enlighten other people, they have to make sure they keep their energy high, right? And do their work so that they can be of service to other people, right? So, if you're called to be a master in this lifetime, to be of service, right? You're responsible for knowing what it is you have to do and to keep your energy high. So, and then it says, okay, Mark 10. Jesus left Jericho with his disciples in a crowd, and he runs into this blind man who's begging, Bartimaeus. And he says, Jesus, have pity on me. And he keeps saying it over and over. People are like, be quiet, stop it. Don't bother Jesus with your, nagging. And he keeps doing it. He keeps doing it. And then Jesus called him. And it says he got up. He called out. And Jesus, he sprang up, right? He got up. He says, what do you want me to do for you? He asked Bartimaeus. And he said, Master, I want to see. And Jesus said, your faith has saved you. Go your way. And then he could see, right, physically, and he followed Jesus. He could have asked for anything, but he was single-minded. He knew what he wanted. He was persistent. He didn't let other people dissuade him from his path, right? He kept the faith, and he kept asking for what he wanted. And he had the spiritual sight that some of the others didn't have, right? He had his third eye activated, or he could see, he could see that Jesus, he had faith that his prayers would be answered, despite many, people telling him, you're wasting your time, don't do that. And so it is today, right? I mean, you, you hear about people who, they keep at it, they keep doing things. People are telling them, why don't you quit? Why is it this failure after failure after, and they just keep doing it, and eventually something, shifts and they get what they want. But you have to have that opportunity, to be called. And Jesus called him, said, get up. Song of the week. It was pretty easy. And I kept hearing, get up, get on up, get down, get up, get on up. I have a separate section of my brain reserved for technotronic music from the early 90s with Yakid K, Belgian group, Technotronic. Yeah, January 1990. It's their second single from Pump Up the Jam, their 1989 album. First one was Pump Up the Jam. And then there was Move This, You Gotta Move This, You Gotta Move. Oh, all three of them are great. And Yakid K, she's awesome. She didn't get to be in the first video. The band, without her knowledge, they hired this model, to be in the video. But the second one she got to be in. That's good. They thought that she, for MTV or whatever, they didn't think that she was, I don't know, what they were looking for. Basically this is Euro dance, electronic house music. So for whatever reason, they thought, the model should like mouth the words, and still, but she got to be in the second video. But yeah, so I kind of did a little. They're jumping around in the video. They got slouchy socks and aerobic sneakers, and that's what we were doing in the early '90s. I was. It came out. It was my first semester in grad school, full time. I had gone part time after college, 87 to like 90, and I said, you know what, this is going to take me forever. So I quit my job and I decided to go for my MBA full time. And that was the first semester, that I did that. And it worked out because then I got it out of the way, you know, and I was focused. I knew what I wanted. I got it. So, but, then I was there at UConn during the years when the bricks were falling off the library. And this is Gen X, folks. Now they have a beautiful library. When I was there, they had plastic sheets on the library on the outside because the bricks were literally jumping off, falling, popping out of the building. And they were afraid they were going to hit people. I forgot about that. I got there. I said, why is there, and there's like plastic sheets, it's like, how's that going to keep a brick from hitting me in the head? I was a little, and I was a little, a little anal retentive, a little bit of paranoid in some ways when I was growing up, health wise. I was always a little bit apprehensive that something was going to pop out from somewhere and hit me. But I, I was a very sensitive kid, and but I had reason to be a little bit worried, because I had, we all have that fear. I had a very, my spleen was always, or whatever, my sacral, or whatever tells you when I think it's your spleen. I have a fixed spleen. I know when there's something off. And I didn't feel too comfortable. I used to go through the turnstile and run like hell into the library so that I could try to outrun the bricks as they were falling. All right, anyway. Yeah, take a stand. So Bartimaeus stood up. Jesus says, get up, get on up. Take courage, get up, they said to him. So we're called by God to get down. In other words, go down into our depths during, Pluto rules Scorpio and Mars. Traditionally, I think it was Mars, but now it's Pluto. Since they discovered Pluto. Go down, get those things that keep you from getting up, from your soul evolving. All the other stuff is just fluff. We're here to evolve as humans. We're not animals. Well, we're part animal, but the higher part of us, the higher parts of us want to grow, right? And you gotta take off the sandbags so your air balloon can fly. Anyway, do what's right before the night is over. Yeah. So you could, there's a window here for getting rid of that stuff before and you have an opportunity to get in on the rocket ship. Anyway, yeah, and be persistent. So get up, go trick or treating, or feed the trick or treaters, and yeah, I'll see you next week. It's time to go. So for me, it's Zazoo Plazz. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.